Hello, everyone. Welcome to Achieving Success with Olivia Akin. I'm your host, Olivia Akin. Each week, we will discuss the roadmap of achieving your personal and professional success. We will give you real-life stories on growing personally and professionally to achieve your life and career goals with the help of some top-notch guests. Today, we are speaking with Mckenzie Hollenbaugh. Mckenzie is the founder and CEO of Mckenzie Louise Productions. Mckenzie Louise Productions is a corporate event management firm. She helps bring your events to life and leave a lasting impression. In addition, Mckenzie is the VP of Marketing Communications for the MPI Pittsburgh chapter and a coach for the Beadling Soccer Club. You can find Mckenzie on LinkedIn by searching Mckenzie Hollenbaugh or by email at mckenziehollenbaugh@gmail.com. Hello, Mckenzie. It's fantastic having you on the show today.
Hi, Olivia. It's wonderful to be here. I'm really excited.
To start off the show, can you tell me what success means and looks like to Mckenzie Hollenbaugh?
Yeah, of course. So I think success, most people go straight to thinking success is about financial success and financial independence and being able to just support yourself. I think a really big portion of success is missed is that connecting with your relationships. So are you surrounded by people you enjoy? Or do they love you? Or do you also have people who feel the same way about you? So success to me is the blending of those two things. And it's achieving success financially by doing what you love and being surrounded by those you're doing it with, and then having them also support you in your success and cheering you on. So whether that's your friends, your family, your spouses, whoever it is, but making sure you're putting those relationships at the forefront of it and making sure that financial success almost comes secondary. Because if you're always putting that money aspect first, like, are you really enjoying what you're achieving? And are you actually giving something back to those who are helping you to achieve that success?
I love that. And I think it's so important to be mindful and surround yourselves with the people who are really standing by you during those high moments and those low moments, just like we talk about on the show, because it isn't just the yes people that you should be surrounding yourselves with. It's the ones that are challenging you, the ones that even when you're down and out and you're feeling like you're down and out, they're helping to motivate you to keep going through your passions. Mckenzie, you've been a part of events even before starting your own event corporate management business. You played professional soccer and you were at that high level, bringing people together in a different aspect. You were a player on that field. For you, what was that experience like? And then how did you know that you wanted to take your experiences, your expertise, and then open your own business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So definitely getting up into that level of playing, D1 soccer, then moving into the professional atmosphere. That is an event, even being a player, while the fans are coming and experiencing that event, it's still an event for the players on the field. I mean, they are putting on a show, and it is just this exciting and thrilling kind of feedback loop that happens. So when you step on a field and you're out there to play your best, you're putting on a show for those fans. And in turn, those fans are enjoying it. You know, the thrill of the game, goals almost being scored, and they start cheering louder. And the I forget what they're called. The announcer is, putting out the play-by-plays, and they're getting a thrill out of hearing that. And then in turn, that excites the players and gets the players going. And it just keeps going round and round. And it is an absolute experience. And where I started out and knowing that I wanted to do events and be a part of this world was I went to Boston University. And if you guys have been to Boston, I absolutely love Beantown, but it is a little expensive. So I needed a way to just make a little extra income so I could enjoy all that Boston had to offer. So I looked, really close to home and talked to the athletics department. I had a couple other athlete friends and teammates that were working other events, sporting events. So whether that be hockey or field hockey, softball, wrestling, swimming, track and field. And I went, interviewed, they put me on the employee list. And I started out doing smaller tasks, just selling tickets, and giving out merchandise. And then slowly, as I got more comfortable and, they started to trust me more, I got to start putting the field together. Started working with some of the sponsors, work with the scoreboards, the penalty boxes, cleaning the courts, and actually setting up that environment and getting the fans excited to be there and getting fans there. And that same giddy, excited feeling that I would get as I stepped on the field, I felt that in creating that experience for my fellow athletes, for my friends, for my teammates. And that's when I was new. Events is where I wanted to be. I liked the people that I was working with. Like and you just know you found your people and they vibe the same as you. And I was like, yeah, this is where I want to go. So I changed my major for the third time at Boston University and went into the School of Hospitality. And immediately within the first day, meeting my new classmates and meeting my professors, it just clicked and everything made sense. I didn't have to sit behind a desk and just stare at numbers like it was at business. There was this more dynamic part of it that you got to be hands-on and put together and take all of these items that were just, napkin notes or things that people would just blurt out. You got to take all of those and put them into something awesome and beautiful and make it make sense and make it tell a story that it can connect with somebody. And ultimately, that's what you do through sports and soccer too. I know ultimately we all get into it just because we have fun and we love it. And that's why I got into events and that's how I found it, because I sort of blended my passions together. But it really is, at the end of the day, like I said, if you can find that passion of, I love doing this, but you can also bring in that monetary success, which I did with soccer as well. I went professional, got paid to play for something I love, but also got to entertain fans and make friends, lifelong connections. That's the ultimate goal. And so that's the ultimate goal of Mckenzie Louise Productions, is to connect and storytell and serve yourself, your clients, your friends, all of those relationships, and bring it back to ultimately be that success of that nice little marriage between the two.
And I want to dive into one last question, or maybe not. I guess we'll see how it goes. On your soccer career, what was it like going from that college level to that pro level? And then what was the moment like for you when you realized, hey, I knew in school there was this other passion brewing inside me and what I want to do professionally. Now's the time to leave professional soccer and really dive into this other passion I have. Because playing professional soccer, playing at a high performing level of any sport, takes a lot of time and focus. So you can't necessarily do both at the same time always.
Yeah. So going into BU, it was I went to BU because it was a perfect blend of high education and also a very high level of soccer. So I always knew, and my parents always said, like, life starts outside your comfort zone, but also being an athlete, it's one of those hard things as an athlete you have to face eventually, that you can't keep playing, that your body can't keep up with your mind and what you want to accomplish at certain points. And if something does happen, will you still be happy where you are? Will you still have the knowledge and experience being where you're at and what you chose if something does ultimately end up happening? And that was a big motivator to going to BU, was, no, I know if anything were to happen to me physically and I can't keep, pursuing that childhood dream of mine, that BU will equip me with the knowledge and experience that I need to succeed in the real world. And I did. I rode that soccer boat very long, and I was not going to let go. And at the end of it, even graduating, I knew, I was like, there's still a chance that I can get drafted. There's still a chance that I can keep playing. And I wasn't going to let that go so easily. So I did. I put my name into the draft, crossed my fingers, hope that everything that I had worked up to and all the hours of those little minute details to make that end result of, a defensive player of the year, a collegiate player of the year, all of those things, those accolades that you end up with, like, those were all made up of much smaller moments, all weaved together. And that's what the ultimate goal is. Take all those moments and cherish every moment and every practice and everything you've done. Is that enough to carry you into the next level? And I firmly believe that everything I did and all those relationships and minutes played and, tears shed, blood, bruises, sweat, all of it would ultimately get me, where I wanted to go. So I put my name in the draft, ended up getting sent out to Kansas City. After the preseason ended up getting traded back to Boston's, which was a little blow, but at the same time, I was still in it. I was still involved. So, and I guess going into it, I was like, okay, my dream is still alive and I still need to put all the hours in. But in playing professional soccer here in the US, you still have to bring in an extra form of income. So you still have to have a job. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to now to blend these two together. But it's going to be even more work because I'm not working for a grade now. You're working for your livelihood. So it was taking two of my passions. And while I'm bringing in money in different ways, you still have to figure a way to seamlessly blend them. So it's reaching out to those relationships that I had made throughout BU and Shaw and seeing, okay, who knows somebody that understands what it's like to put in all those hours and dedication to be an athlete, but also is going to work with you to help your actual career success elevate itself. And so met with a lot of different event companies, including breweries, event production companies, other firms, and then just straight up corporate companies that need an event planner and see what their needs were and how are they able to work with you? I really do think it's a partnership. And it did take quite a few conversations to understand how to talk to people and how to make it a mutually beneficial conversation because they're like, yeah, it's really cool you play soccer, but that's not my end goal. That's not going to help me. Your professional career is not going to help me in my business. So it's okay. How can I serve you then by being your event planner? But also then I'm serving myself and can still serve you while bringing my passions to fruition. And ended up finding a great company while I was playing here in the US that understood that passion and felt it. And then we could mutually come to that agreement. Then it was very sad when I got drafted to go abroad. I was there for a whole year, had to break the news that I was going abroad, but ultimately, like, he had been part of my journey. They themselves invested. They came to my games. They supported me, all the other event planners. And that's what it's about. It's not about how, like, give me something and I'll give you something. It needs to be a relationship. They need to be invested in you so you can invest back in them. And I think that's what made this relationship so great. And the fact that I still talk to some of those event planners now, 7-8 years later, is because we mutually invest in each other. Mutually, like, I like you. I like what you're doing. I like what you stand for, and that's what it's about. It's not forcing somebody to like you. It's working within and being authentic to who you are and building upon that. And so when I did go abroad, they ended up following, they posted about a couple of times. But yeah, while abroad, I think I mentioned this earlier, but it's a different kind of show. It's a different kind of event. And you're more in that spotlight of people know who you are. They have your jersey number. You need to be out there. You need to know how to present yourself physically. You need to know how to speak, dress, how to interact with the fans, press. It's just a whole different kind of event. But all those relationships always come back into it. You don't want to, make your fans mad. You don't want to make your coach mad. And it, like I said, it's again, that circular feedback loop of, I'm going to give you a good game. You're going to give me, the fans are going to in turn get your name out there, but it is all built in that relationship. And even on social media, responding to your fans and making sure that, no, I hear you. Like, I respect you and I appreciate all of the effort and love you're giving me. And I'm going to give that back to you by putting everything I can on the field. And also, I'm playing for their town. I'm an American. I came into their town and they embraced me like fully, and they didn't have to do that. Like, I'm a foreigner. They could just be like, who's this American coming in? But it wasn't. There's like, no, she's going to help elevate our town and get us on the map. And then we're going to help elevate her career. But it was just this beautiful culmination of acceptance and joy and fun. And I think that's what it's about, is that fun and, that mutual, respect that everybody had.
And that's the thing too. And you brought up a few great points there. Is one, when you play soccer in the US at a professional level, most people think of professional sports, you're thinking the big money, the big exposure,
Yeah.
walking out. They forget sometimes about the hard work, but some of those under recognized sports or athletes that it isn't, not every professional athlete gets paid, or every league gets paid like the MLB or the NFL. There's not that money in it. I think it's really eye-opening for even our listeners to hear that even playing at a professional level in the US, professional soccer, you have to hold a second job to really be able to build your income. But also, it's the fact you had to have those transparent conversations of, yes, I need this second job to be able to keep my living and everything I'm doing. But like, you're my, and I don't want to say it like this, but it's the second priority in the mix of it, right? Professional sports and being a professional soccer player and having to travel and all that, that's priority number one. I want to succeed in this avenue as well. And this is a priority, but how do you make the balance? And then going overseas and having a different experience with the community. It's a different level. We all know professional soccer in other countries is a lot bigger. It is like the NFL overseas. So for you, how did you have a lot of those transparent conversations? And then how did your mind shift once you went overseas?
Yeah, the transparent conversation started out with, they always ask, why do you want this job? Why are you here? And you don't start being like, I just need to make money because I want to do this. Like, don't start with that. That's not going to end well for anybody. But it's coming. I mean, like, I have a passion for what you do, and I know I still have areas to grow here, and I see this opportunity as one, a mentorship from you. You can never have too many mentors as a mentorship, but I also think I have attributes that can serve your company well that might be missing from somebody who didn't play sports, such as that time management, such as that grit, such as that the things that even you mentioned it. There are so many hours of other items and time that goes in that people don't see on the field. They don't see the hours of recovery, you rolling out in your room by yourself, trying to get extra yoga practices in, your whole nutrition routine of, how you fuel your body. They don't see that. All they see is the end result. And it's the same thing when you go and have these transparent conversations, is you bring that to them. And even when I mentor some of the athletes coming out of BU that are transitioning to the real world, they're like, well, all these people have all these internship experience, and I don't have that because we were playing a sport. You had to put that time and energy into traveling and being on a bus and taking tests on buses and playing your sport. You didn't have all the summers to yourself to go get an internship to get all that experience. I was like, but what you did gain out of playing sports is different from what got going out and playing, and getting an internship and a job. They learned time management, but not the time management you did about, okay, do I have to get it done now? Do I have to do it in a bus? How do I take a test while I'm in, 2,000 miles away? How do I stay with my classes when I am gonna miss, about a third of the year because I'm not going to be there or have to leave early to play? And there's a lot of other items where it does teach you to be very independent. And I think athletics and sports kind of breed that entrepreneurial spirit, because there is a lot that you have to figure out not in a classroom, that you have to figure out real world. And some of those items where people are like, oh, I missed class, missed a test. And they're like, oh, but it didn't, what are the consequences of it for them? Oh, they just don't have a grade. If we miss a test, we missed games. Coach got mad. There were way more significant consequences for, not messing up, but messing up. And it's how is that going to snowball? So again, going back to working with companies and being transparent, it's how can I connect with you? How can I serve you? And how can we intertwine our stories together to make it work? And I think that is what it's about. It's about leveraging your unique skills and assets and not just going off the cookie cutter. I have time management. I have leadership skills. No, I have leadership skills because I was on a bus for this and had to help the freshmen figure out how to balance their schedules. No, I have time management skills because I had to be at practice at 6 a.m., get to my 8 a.m. class, and then still go to all my classes, finish all my homework, and be at the gym for another lift at 4 p.m. to then be back at class by 8 the next day, So it's through those stories is how you're going to connect. It's not just listing off those skills.
For, for you too, talking about connectivity, now part of your corporate event management firm is really bringing everyone to be able to connect through those experiences and leave that lasting impression. You've brought up a lot about your past experiences and how it really shapes who you are. And you're exactly right. It's not all about the classroom and what you get out of the classroom. How do you try to bring your events to life for corporations and really leave that lasting impression through working with you?
Yeah. So what I've taken in, I've said it a couple of times, is my blueprint for life and events is to connect, to storytell, and to serve. And that's the blueprint I've been using. And so for events, or I'll go back, being an athlete too, they talked about your personal brand identity way before it blew up on the internet nowadays with social media, especially because you were scrutinized as an athlete. You were already in the sphere of light as in high school and college, everywhere. You were already out there more. And they're like, you need a personal brand. Like, who are you? Because if you don't depict yourself right, people will tell you who you are. And you don't want people defining who you are. You need to define who you are. And so I really took that to heart in defining a personal brand of being present and authentic and storytelling and being genuine, and really helping companies dig deep into their brand values, their integrity, and not just what their product is, but how is it actually serving your client or your attendees? Yes, there's an overall outcome, right? But as I mentioned, it's made up of all those small steps to get to that really big outcome or that really big event. So I think one of the best analogies I've ever heard was I was on a webinar a couple months ago, and he said, okay, you have a job that you have to do. So you go buy a hammer. Okay, you bought a hammer. What's the hammer for? And people were like, it's a tool. It's just this very generic, surface level. Well, no, you're buying a hole. So I'm buying a hammer to buy a hole. People are like, I don't get it. Okay, so let's go one step deeper. Well, I bought the hole to put a nail in. Well, why'd you do that? So I can buy a picture. Well, why? What? It's so you can hang the picture. So ultimately, we're going to go 5, 6 layers deep for those brands and be like, no, you started this company not just to sell, makeup. You bought it to enhance someone's natural beauty, to make them feel more confident, to make them feel like they can go out and own the world. We're going to go those 5, 6 layers deep. And ultimately, that's how we're going to run the event. It's not going to be surface level. And I think that's how you not only speak to your client and really get them to understand their event and their brand and who they are and what they want to accomplish, but it brings it back to that end result of your client and respecting them and your relationship that you have with the people who are buying your product. They're spending money on you. They see the value and they want to invest. So give them more reason to be loyal and be with you. And so you can have that mutual and beneficial connection. It's not just you taking their money and then leaving them out to dry. I don't think that's why companies here. And that's definitely not why I, got in this business. I really pride myself on those repeat clientele that I want to understand your brand at the deepest level so that you keep coming back and we can keep building on who you are, what you are, your connections with even your employees, but your clients, your customers, and then let's feed that back into your company brand of how you treat your employees to make sure that you're fueling your employees as well.
And that's really important. And you've brought it up, and it's definitely a theme of our conversation here today, is connectivity and relatability. Because you really have to be able to connect, but keep asking the question of why. Why are you doing this? And why, I call it the 5 whys. You ask why 5 times, you're going to get to the root cause of why you're doing it. And I think that's really important. And like you said, it's not just about starting your business. Why are you starting the business? Why are you doing this exact thing within your business? What are the tasks? Why are you doing the task that way, even as an employee?
Yeah.
You keep getting to that, you'll be able to figure out, not just why you're doing it, but the passion, how people connect with it, those longevity of the success that you're building and you're passionate about. For you, as you mentioned, you really try to work with repeat customers, really help them build up. When you get a client back, how might things and event change or pivot over time that you've seen as well, especially as industries have changed, right?
Yeah, definitely. A big change was, going virtual, and it was, how do you connect through a computer screen with people versus, because you lose those serendipitous moments of running into somebody in the hallway, or having a lunch conversation with them, or those water cooler moments. So you kind of lose that. So how do you still create those connections and get close with people through a computer screen? And then on the flip side, once everybody, once the world starts transitioning back to those in persons, how do we then transition something that people got very comfortable with being on screen back into in person? And it's really understanding the human mindset. So I think a lot more people got comfortable on the computer, and it's understanding, okay, then some people just want to look like we are now. They just want to communicate through the computer. They're fine just watching the screen, but other people want to be in person and they want to have that experience. So it's understanding almost two separate audiences. So what does your online audience want? And then what does your in-person audience want? And seeing how those evolve and change over time. I think definitely through repeat customers, you see their clientele grow, and they went from something very specific and very niche, and you can see now the greater impact they're having. And it's so, so important that you still come back to that key moment that got them there, because sometimes people just start to get so, so, so broad that the impact starts to get lost, because now they went from talking to one specific person to talking to everybody. And I think in marketing, the big saying, I hear it everywhere now, is if you talk to everybody, you talk to no one. It's been around a while, but has definitely taken off. But it is true, and it holds true for events as well. If you just sit people in a room, even though they all like your brand, but you're not setting out and storytelling for them and laying out how it's actually going to impact each person in maybe a different way, then it's just going to be this blanket that they're like, cool. So still making sure it's specific enough that it can still evolve. And while you're saying specific, it doesn't mean there's not a story. It's still going to evolve over time. Then, there's a middle, beginning, and an end. And the last part of that, I think, is understanding where the company is in their growth cycle. So we just did a 10-year anniversary for this company, and it was a living, walking timeline. And you got to see their products in their studios and everything from when they first started to where they are now. But you had to bring everybody into that. Well, now it's a very broad experience, right? It's a 10-year journey, and they're like, that's a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay, so how can we break each one of those down to each individual moment, and then have our attendees connect with each one of those individual moments in their own way, and they can take it how they want to continue their journey. So that's definitely something I really enjoy about repeat customers, is you get to grow with them and help storytell with them, not for them, but with them and in conjunction, and help grow their brand. And sometimes it is stepping outside their comfort zone and seeing how far you can kind of push that event while staying true to their brand integrity, And I think that's the best part about events, is we can push some boundaries, because I'm not changing your brand, right? I'm not doing that. We're just trying to expand it out and make it speak to somebody a little more in that one specific moment in time. And can they take that one specific moment with them and carry that on?
And I think that's important too. And you had mentioned this, and it really struck with me, is the aspect that, especially as people go online and go back and forth, there can be individuals, just like brands, that change over time. I'm an extrovert. I love talking, but spending a lot of time on the computer, in my old corporate job, everything I did for a long time was remote. And then my business, I have clients all over the world. So not everything, but 98% of my business is remote, right? So now when I go into settings where there's a lot going on, there's those professional events or different things, I catch myself going, pre-COVID, I would have been chatting with everyone the second I walked in the
Yep.
door, right? Now I'm watching more body language. I'm taking that step to get warmed up to people. I'm a little bit more shy because I've gotten to be able to have conversations a lot more just one-on-one and not these massive groups. That pre-COVID, I was in that massive group. I was running that massive group. So I had to be able to pivot a lot, talk to a lot of different people, connect in those quick moments, whereas now it's the long moments. So even going into those bigger events, how can I do that where my brain has kind of shifted its own mindset as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And in the events industry, I think there's been a huge focus too on the mental well-being of the attendees now. People are more focused on their personal life, that work-life balance. And people do get overwhelmed easily. So while when I get to go on site, I am gung ho. I think it makes events way more fun because you don't get to interact with people as often. And I'm like, let's go. Like, this is exciting. There's going to be 3,000 people, I'm like, whoop. But yeah, I do have a friend. She is my, love her, but she is more, no, I like 5 people. Don't put me in a room with any more. But she's in marketing. She has to go to these big marketing events. And she's like, I have to stay in the back of the room. Like, this is too much. Like, I can't. And as an event planner, I looked at her, I was like, they should really do something about that for events. Like, there should be a room you can go to, like, to take a mental break or to step away, or maybe we can put up a live feed somewhere else so you don't have to be in that room with 2,000 people, but maybe there's just 20 people watching the live feed. So even just listening to how, like you said, the body language, maybe what they're saying at lunches, it's definitely good to have sounding boards all around. And kind of when people are like, how are you everywhere and nowhere all at the same time? Because I pride myself on being in the background, but I also pride myself on knowing everything that's going on so that I can handle kind of any situation. And it's listening and seeing, okay, how can we take care of our audience's well-being through more breaks, different food options. Maybe we do need to offer quiet rooms. Or I just recently experimented with just different seating. So you might have round tables, which are, one table with seats all around it up front. And then as you start moving back, you have classroom style, which is a long table with seats there, and then just high tops in the back, right? Maybe people don't want to sit and be confined. Maybe they want to stand. Maybe I don't want to sit at a table where I'm looking at somebody. I want to sit here in my seat and look forward. So I think, the golden rule is like treat people how you want to be treated. I think that new rule now is treat people how they would like to be treated, and give them sort of what they need to be most productive, while, I guess, not taking away from the event, not taking away from anybody else, So I think that's definitely that fine balance.
And I think it's something that you brought up subconsciously here is like also thinking outside the box and seeing how everyone can come together, even though that might look different to different people.
Yeah.
How can everyone feel comfortable? And let's think out of the box to make that happen. Like you said in the very beginning of this, there's nothing cookie cutter.
No.
There is no one size fit all in life, in events, in making that memorable impact either.
Exactly. No, definitely. I'm definitely not about cookie cutter events. It is going to be completely, bespoke and unique to your event, your people, your attendees. Like I said, if one company I work with, we want to go out, we want to provide drinks, we want to provide music. And I'm like, okay, let's get off site. Let's go do this then. And the other company we work with is like, nope, they're very analytical. They want everybody to be in one space. They want to keep everybody tight, and they're more organized, and their events, they're still fun, but they're done in a different way. And they're all held within a contained area. Right. So it's going to be very unique to what your attendee wants. And then again, who are you working with? Who is your company? And what kind of people do you attract? So I really enjoy that aspect of it. Is just everybody has their own unique story, and that's what makes people people. That's what makes people fun. And something I always say, and it gets a crack every time, but like people are going to people. You can't stop people from peopling. So you can't stop it. So you need to work with it.
And I love that. Mckenzie, how can people get in touch with you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah. So if you are looking to connect with me about anything about events, sports, academics, or um, you can reach me at LinkedIn at Mckenzie Hollenbaugh. You can email me at McKenzieHollenbaugh@gmail.com. And those are going to be the two best ways to reach out to me.
I love it. Well, thank you, Mckenzie, for all of your insight today.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for giving me a platform to voice some knowledge. And the last little tidbit I want to leave everybody with is that my friend wrote a book, and there was a very good passage at the end that just really stuck with me. And I just finished the book the other week. So kudos to Pat O'Connor, my little mentor out there. But he said relationships are a great determinant of success. So if there's anything, the last takeaway I'll leave you guys with is really focus on those relationships, whether they're personal, professional. Make sure you're blending the two and really connecting with those that care about you, that want to succeed, and then also invest in those other people.
I love that. And I think that's a great way, like you said, to wrap it up, because it is so true. Connectivity is so important. And a few of our key takeaways from today's conversation are: it is okay to switch majors. I want to start off by saying this because this is something that we haven't touched upon as a key takeaway in any shape or form yet, but it is so important to recognize as well, especially for younger listeners who are going into college or our older ones who want to go back to school. It is okay to switch 100 times, maybe not 100, you right, you want to graduate, but go and switch and realize, hey, I want to totally switch from business to communications. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. I want to do this, and really take it and learn and dive into it. It is okay not to feel like you have to stay with something just because it's what you picked years prior. I went into my college undergrad undeclared, quickly became an entrepreneurship major. Wasn't getting what I thought it was at the time. The degree was shaped differently, switched to business management, really gave myself those resources, and that's what I was passionate about. And that really helped me grow as an individual, but then also succeed long term. And I use the things I learned in those entrepreneurship classes and those management classes, and now they all blend. So switching majors is totally okay. And do not think you have to stick with something just because you chose it when you entered school or while you were applying too, as well as you can never have too many mentors. I think that's really important, is as we grow and adapt, it is okay to have a lot of different mentors in different aspects of your life, whether that's professional soccer or event management or whatever it might be. But it is also okay to take the hat of mentoree and become the mentor as well, and wear both hats even at the same time, as well as all the big outcomes are shaped from all the little outcomes. Remember that as you're going into it. Mckenzie brought it up and really demonstrated that throughout our talk today, that big outcomes are shaped by the small moments you have and those small outcomes you are working towards. As well as go back to your key audience. Be specific enough to be able to grow, but remember who your core audience is. We're currently seeing that on the news with Victoria's Secret, for example, right? They pivoted, they kind of got away from their key audience because they were growing and didn't stay with who their key audience was. And now they're pivoting back. So it is really important to always keep that in the back of your mind as you're growing your business, as you're maybe adding areas and branches into your business as well. What are your key individuals liking? How are they growing? How are they growing with you as well? And one of my favorite things Mckenzie had said, people are going to people. You can't stop it, right? So people with that. This was a great episode with our top-notch guest, Mckenzie Hollenbaugh. Thank you for listening and have a successful day.